And I say I came to about 5 seconds after it happened. And I remember it kind of getting dark, even though it was a bright day. I was looking straight at the sun. And you see the darkness closing in, and it's amazing how clear everything becomes when you think that your next breath could be your last. All I could think about at that point was my kids and my wife back home. On November the 15th, 2004, we were running a mission as support for combat engineers who were sweeping a very, very active route. Probably about 6 hours into the mission, we were at the turnaround point. We were headed back to our base, and there were 2 anti-tank landmines buried in the gravel. It flipped a very heavy Humvee full of gear, threw the gunner out. The door behind me got blown off the hinges. When I came to, I looked up and I saw my right boot sole, the bottom of my boot, right about where my knee is. And I knew I was hurt really bad. And I remember it kind of getting dark, even though it was a bright day. I was looking straight at the sun. And I said, please, Lord, don't let me die. Just let me get home to see my kids. Next thing I know, I woke up in Landstuhl, Germany about 2.5 days later, missing my right leg, wondering if anybody in my family knew anything about what was going on.
My dad called me, and he was like, Belinda, are you sitting down? I need to tell you something. Sorry. And I got scared because the way my dad was talking, he was crying, and my dad never cried. My dad told me that he had gotten in an accident, and you know, in the back of your mind, it's always, it's not going to happen to me. This won't happen to me. This won't happen to me. But that it does.
It was just amazing how fast everything happened. We landed in D.C. They put us on the hospital buses to take us over to Walter Reed. They had already amputated my right leg. My right eye was still burned shut. I had shrapnel all in my body. The doc comes in to look at my left leg that I still had, and you know, he said, look, you're missing your heel bone. My talus was just completely sheared off. And he told me, you know, I can build you a new heel, but you'll never walk without pain again. You'll never run again. And I kind of looked at him, I was like, okay, so is there any other options here? And he said, well, yeah, you can have it amputated and be a bilateral amputee and probably have a better quality of life. And so I said, okay, cut it off. So that was pretty intense, knowing that I had at least a year of rehab coming up.
My dad was military, so we grew up being raised that military families, we stick together. No brother left behind. So when I got up there, I had made arrangements to stay the duration as he was going to, you know, however long he was going to be there.
She had been there a week. The kids came up, and I asked her one day, I said, hey, where are you staying at? And she said, well, we were in a hotel, but I met some of the folks here on base, and we're staying in the Fisher House. And I had never heard of the Fisher House before at that time.
When Dale was transferred to rehab status, that's after his wounds have healed and now he's not inpatient anymore. At that point, if it wasn't for the Fisher House, Belinda and the kids may not have been able to stay. They would have had to go back to North Carolina or pay out of pocket to stay in a hotel. When families are coming to be with their loved one while they're getting treatment, the last thing you want to do is to be far away. You need to be right next door because you want to be able to walk over there. So that's again where the Fisher House really steps in and says, we're going to be here for them.
I've seen a lot of charities do a lot of different things for military Only really the Fisher House has that focus on the entire family as a unit. We were all able to just be together, sleep in the same bedroom. I was co-located with the hospital with the therapy that I had to do. It was like I had a 9-to-5 job. I could go down, do therapy, come home in the evenings, not to a hotel. Come home in the evenings to the Fisher House.
Living there for a year was home away from home. I was never alone. I could always talk to somebody that, you know, you're surrounded by love.
Without the Fisher House Foundation, I don't know what my prognosis would have been, where I would be now, not having my family next to me. If I had to stay up there in a hospital bed or a hotel room by myself for a year, who knows what may have happened. It is irreplaceable. What we have is irreplaceable in the Fisher Houses.
What Fisher House meant to me was the world. It's a wonderful, I couldn't have done it without the Fisher House at that time.
Dale and Belinda's story is just one of hundreds of wounded warriors. And I know I am personally grateful for all the families that have been able to be in our homes, have this experience, have the support. And I think what I want everyone to know is we're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to do it for the veterans, and we're going to continue to do it for the active duty families.
How quickly they forget the pain. But baby, I need you to know. And if the world will miss the point, you know that I am here to understand. We can make a start out of pieces of our hearts grown. A million miles with my voice as your guide.